Mystere was the first to become physical, and if you were at the world at the beginning, it would make perfect sense. She was beauty. She was life. Every place was new, and her power was unrivaled. And surrounded by creation, all things had to believe in her. We knew her. Turning physical was only a matter of time for Mystere. And once she did, she would talk to the plants and the creatures of the world. And as life grew, so did her power. Festus grew jealous. He wanted to become physical like Mystere. So he used his power and he slowly started causing patterns to appear in life. And some of the patterns created even more beautiful things. And we started to notice wondrous flowers and plants would appear in patterns throughout the world. It was beautiful. And his lust for power grew, as did his followers. We were so focused on the beauty of his patterns, we didn't notice the decay and entropy that followed. Then, with Festus and Mystere moving about the world, meeting and talking to the creatures and the plants, it was only time before boredom grew for Bork, who was all alone in the metaphysical realm. Boredom was bad. He grew jealous. So he started tinkering as well. He taught the Prima curiosity. And that curiosity was his power into the world. And soon, as their curiosity grew, so did his power. They would go around and explain how the world wasn't perfect. The gods had limitations. There were rules in the universe that even they had to follow. Mystere and Festus weren't happy with Bork, but once the curiosity started, they couldn't stop it. The dragons would go around and help Mystere bring life. The giants started helping Festus bring order to the world. And the Prima would work. They could do both things, but sometimes they didn't do either. They might just explore or think. And then sometimes they would even leave and no one would know where they would go for years. Then over eons, the dragons became completely under the control of Mystere, only working to help create life. The giants would only work for Festus, and the three gods, Mystere, Festus, and Bork, they started to battle over the control of the Prima. They would have factions, some who thought life was more important, some who thought order was more important, and some who thought that you had to do both, that the universe wasn't just one thing. The three would start to conflict, and over time, violence started to happen as the Prima started to fight each other over who they should be worshiping, which of the gods was the most powerful, which should control the universe. The answers didn't question, the battles just grew. And over time, the Prima started going in after the dragons and trying to force dragons to change their allegiances and go to the giants. They would bring down giant ships and trap them and try and force the giants to worship gods besides Festus. It wasn't working the way anyone wanted, but no one knew a better way. Not the gods, nor the races. As time passed, the power of the Prima grew even greater. They created wondrous machines that started to surpass even the greatest of those created by the giants. They would wield magic, sometimes even greater than that of the dragons. They started being able to travel throughout the universe. They were no longer stuck in just our planet. They could go where they willed. They stopped listening to the instruction of the gods. Over time, the gods grew angry with them because the gods need the belief of the creatures in the physical realm to stay physical and interact with the smells and the feelings that you can only get in our realm. So they decided to send the dragons and giants to punish the Prima, to put them in their place. At first, the Prima were reeling the magical assaults from the dragons and the powerful weapons of the giants rained terror on their communities, and it seemed like they would be forced to capitulate and once again do as the gods instructed. However, the giants and dragons never seem to have quite enough might between them to completely put down the heretic notions of the Prima.